I'm Katie Neal from Audacy Country here at the Hard Rock Cafe Nashville at our brand new Audacy Sound Space with our totally private performer, Koe Wetzel. Thank you so much for being here, dude.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We're excited. This is going to be a fun little show tonight we're going to do. I feel like maybe it's just where my algorithm is, but like every time I'm online lately, I feel like you are everywhere. Like, do you feel like you're everywhere?
I don't know. I've been trying to stay off social media as much as possible, but no, it's cool. You know, everything that's been happening is really insane for us. So we're excited to, be in Nashville and be around everything. Man, it's been cool.
It's going to be great. So you ended 2024 in a big way. Your very first #1 at country radio. How did that feel?
It was crazy. It was I think it was unexpected. It was one of the first songs that we had went to country radio with, and for it to go the way it did, it was kind of mind blowing for us. But I don't know, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, very fun, and it's a great song too.
Yeah, thank you.
Talk a little bit about the story behind that song.
So we put the song together actually here in Nashville in RCA. We went out to Tornillo in El Paso for the 9 Lives record. Me, Gabe Simon, Amy Allen, Carrie Kay, Sam Harris, just a really good, great group of folks. Went out there, got a bunch of songs done, and everything kind of went kind of easy. So we did another 4 or 5 days and came out with a bunch of other cool songs. And High Road was one of them. I think it came really natural, really easy. It was just kind of a relationship song, after you've been together with a certain person for so long, and kind of go back on the ins and outs of, going through a relationship and all that, and kind of wanted to have a girl's perspective on it. So we hit up Miss Jessie Murph, and she came in and absolutely killed it. And it just kind of made the song what it was.
Yeah, and it's a great song. When I was like prepping for this, because you and I have never gotten the chance to sit down before, and I feel like I read probably 24 articles, interviews, all this stuff, and everybody's got their own way of trying to describe like what the Koe Wetzel sound is. But I want to know, like, from you, how do you describe it? Like, you meet somebody at the bar, you're like, I'm a musician. Like, oh, what does your music sound like? Yeah. What do you say?
Well, we've always called it like hillbilly punk rock, or garage rock, or whatever it is, and lately, with 9 Lives, it was kind of a different record than people were used to from me, and I don't know what we call it these days. Garage country, I guess. we'll call it garage country.
Garage country, that sounds great.
If that ever becomes the thing, then we'll just leave it there.
You mentioned the 9 Lives record. You said this was kind of like a departure from stuff that you'd previously done and end up kind of being like therapy session for you. Now that this has been out for a while, like, how do you feel about like this record? How do you feel like fans received it?
I wasn't really worried about how the fans were going to take it, because we have such a loyal fan base, coming from Texas and having that fan base there and the surrounding areas and everything. And so I wasn't really worried about how they were going to take it. I knew with the loyal fan base that they were going to kind of dig whatever we put out. But I feel like this was a record that they kind of were expecting from me for a long time. I did, the drunk partying records and crazy outbursts and everything else for so long, and this is kind of a record that was a part of me growing up a little bit and kind of growing with the fans, and hopefully hoping that they would grow with me, and the response on it was great. So I don't know, I think it kind of opened my eyes up a little bit to this whole thing isn't just a party anymore, and going around and making enough money to get to the next one. It's a lot bigger than I am. So I don't know. I think it was for the better. It's been a lot of fun. These days are a lot more fun. I'm getting a little bit older and everything, and but yeah, they took it great, and again a whole different new fan base, I guess you'd say. Getting with the mainstream country and everything. So shout out to all the new fans and everybody. But I don't know, it's been cool.
You mentioned like your fan base. I think everyone knows like you have a like amazingly loyal, rabid, like ready to party fan base. Yeah. And I feel like that has come from like, the years and years you've been touring in Texas. Was kind of like not getting out of Texas, but expanding from Texas to the Nashville mainstream scene. Was that always part of the plan, or did that just kind of start to happen organically?
No, I think it happened organically. We've been playing U.S. We've been playing all over the U.S. and pulling huge crowds for a while, but it wasn't, not a whole lot's changed from then to now. I feel like, only thing I feel like has changed has been radio and us getting to a larger scale of audience or whatever. And I remember, whenever they're like, why do you want to get on the radio? You got all this going for you. And I said, there's just a certain point that you can go being independent and not having radio play. And we just want to reach, a bigger audience. And that's kind of what radio in Nashville has done for us. And, we'll never forget Texas. We all still live in Texas. We're still the Texas country cats that we've been for since the beginning. But I think now with the being in Nashville a lot and all the radio play and everything, it's just helped us gain a bigger audience and kind of expand a little bit.
For sure. Well, for me, I think it's been really fun to watch the last few years, the moment that artists from Texas have had. Because I remember when I first learned, people were like, no, you can just be a Texas country artist and tour your whole life and make millions of dollars and never leave Texas. Yeah. But seeing Cody Johnson come out and Parker, who I know you're really close with, and you obviously, what do you think is kind of attributed to that shift of going from Texas to mainstream?
I think just staying loyal, honestly, and just our Texas fans. It's kind of a two-way street, I guess. It's either they kind of screw you, we're done with you type shit, or they kind of stick behind you. But I think just staying true to who you are and coming up and playing, the same music that you've always played, not leaving them behind has been a big part of it. And Parker and Kojo will say the same, I'm sure. But yeah, it's I think all we're doing is just really showing the rest of the country, the rest of the world, what Texas music is about, and that means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to them too. So it's cool to see Texas music getting out there a little bit. I felt like you said, it's always kind of been that tight knit group, and we could hang around Texas and play for the rest of our lives and make a damn good living. But I think we wanted to get out a little bit and share our music with the rest of the world, and that's what we're trying to do.
For sure. And I think it's important. I do want to talk about the fans from Texas are amazing. So I lived in New York for a long time, and when Texas Independence Day would roll around, they would do this show, and Pat Green, Randy, everybody would come up and play this show. And I remember the first time I went out on stage, and I could not believe how loud people were, and how passionate. It's a thing.
They're wild. They like to have a good time. They love their Texas music. They love their Texas boys. It's getting back. We got to play 2 shows at the end of last year after the damn near normal tour. We got to play Austin and Fort Worth, and getting back because we didn't play a whole lot of Texas dates last year, and getting back and seeing all the folks that came out. It was good to be home. So we enjoy being back in Texas, man. There's no place like it, I feel like, and especially if you come up from Texas and playing music.
Yeah. Having or being known for having these really high energy live shows, what are the things that you and the band do during the day? Is there any pre-show rituals? Are there traditions, superstitions, anything like that?
No, not really. We kind of just do the same shit every day. On the road, we usually wake up around lunch. I don't know, just kind of diddle-daddle around and hit sound check, and then we'll have a couple beers. Probably take a nap because we're hurting from the night before, and around 6:37, we all get stage ready, and we start drinking tequila, and usually we'll finish a bottle or two before we get on stage, and then it's time to raise hell. So
yeah. Speaking of raising hell, going out on the road with Hardy on the Jim Bob tour for the U.S. I remember when I saw this, I was like, oh God, this is gonna be a real good time. Talk about what you're excited about for that.
I'm excited about it. Me and Hardy, we've been boys for a while. We got to do a acoustic tour back in, I think it was 21. He came down to Texas. We played a bunch of shows, and great dude. Love his music, man. And he has that rock country. I feel like he's just dove into it so well. I feel like by blending the genres, and that's kind of where we've been throughout the career, trying to blend those as well. So it's gonna be fun. It's a lot of fun. Stephen Wilson Jr. is on there. Got to meet him. He came down to Texas during Austin and Fort Worth, and we got to meet and hang out. Great dude. Love his music. So It's gonna be a lot of fun. I hope nobody goes to jail, but we're gonna have a good time.
I was gonna say jail or broken bones. Didn't you like break your shoulder on that acoustic tour?
Yeah, on the Hardy. Yeah, that's yeah. We're not gonna talk about that.
Okay.
I still heard from.
I'm sure you guys are gonna have a great time. But I kind of cracked up because I was like, oh my god, these two are going on tour, but both of them are expecting baby girls this year.
I know
so I feel like it's gonna be a little probably more toned down than maybe when you first planned.
I agree. I think I think we're gonna wind it back a little bit more. We're not as agile and a little. We're not as crazy as we used to be. Or I'll take that back. We might be as crazy as we used to be. We're just a little bit older.
Yeah, a little more responsibility.
The hangovers hurt a little bit more these days.
They hurt a little more, right? And congratulations on the baby announcement also. That's really exciting. Do you feel like, has that started to like influence songwriting or anything yet?
Not yet. It hasn't yet. And I don't know. I don't know how that's going to affect everything. I think once it gets here and it really hits me, then I'm sure it will. But
for sure.
Me and Bailey are really excited about it, and it's going to be a big change and a good change for me. I feel like I need.
For sure. You mentioned that you have been here in town working on new music. Mm-hmm. What can you say about like the next chapter for Koe Wetzel?
Just kind of growing off of 9 Lives. I think the music that I've made for so long has just kind of been instilled into me and kind of soldered into me. And with this new music, with the new record, I wanted to kind of get a little bit more on the rock and roll side, back to that Texas rock and roll, and working with Gabe Simon again. So it's fun, every time we go in the studio, it's different. Every day is different. It's just kind of going there blind, having a little bit of an idea what you're going to write, but not having a whole outlook on it, and kind of stepping back after the day of work and being like, holy shit, that's pretty cool. That's really, that's bringing a lot more joy back to songwriting and being in the studio, because we're going straight from writing to recording right then, and I feel like that's how it should be, and we're having a lot of fun with it. So I don't know, we'll see how it comes out. I hope y'all enjoy.
I know you got a lot of friends here in town. Has there been any talk about like collaborations for this record, or
not yet? We're just kind of focused on getting the songs where they want to be, and then I think maybe we'll look later on here in a little bit once everything kind of gets into the shape of the record. And right now we got a couple, got a bunch of songs. We just don't. I like to have a lot of songs and then kind of come back to them and decide which ones are going to make the record. But it's I don't know.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited to hear what's next. Okay, so you're here playing a totally private show for a listener who won and got to bring 4 friends. Obviously, their dream show is to have a Koe Wetzel performance. Who would you say, like, if you could have a totally private show with like anybody, who would you want it to be?
Ooh, man.
I feel like it's probably a loaded question because a lot of these people you're like friends with now, and you'd never want to like make them play a show for you. But like, if you could just be a fan.
Oh man, that's a hard one. Right now, probably Zach Top, honestly. Right. Zach, yeah, hell yeah.
Is anyone having more fun than Zach Top right now? I don't think so.
Killing it. Right? I called it like a year or two ago too, because whenever he was putting out, I guess he's putting out videos on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, and I was like, this cat's got it for sure. And now seeing where he's going, it's insane. And I love his music. I grew up on 90s music, so I love some Zach Top. Maybe I don't know, Kurt Cobain broke down.
There you go.
Little unplugged. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, Koe, thank you so much for being here. We so appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So excited about the new music, and congrats on the number 1.
Thank you. I appreciate it.